All right, guys, everybody give it up. Living legend Marky Ramone, the surviving member.
Unfortunately, Johnny, Joey, Dee Dee, and Tommy are gone due to cancer.
Yeah, it sucks. And it's also sad for me because I grew up in a smaller town where bands didn't really play, concerts didn't really happen, but I moved to Toronto in '96, and at that time you guys had broken up. But I thought, well, that's all right. They're going to get back together.
No.
But they didn't.
We didn't believe in reunions.
You don't think you would have got back together?
There's a reason. When a band stops and after 10, 15 years they want to get back together, they're not as good as they were, believe me. I've seen all of them, and they're not. So we always realized that that's why we wouldn't have a reunion. Anyway, that's the way it goes.
Well, and even before, the Ramones, though, you kind of got started in another legendary punk band, did you not? You were with Richard Hell.
And the Voidoids here. That's where the Pistols got their image from, Richard Hell.
And how did you end up playing in his band?
Well, we all hung out at CBGB's. We were late teens, early 20s, and that was our club. And you have Debbie Harry over there, Patti Smith there, Johnny Thunders, David Johansen over there, the Ramones. So we all knew each other. When Tommy wanted to leave the band, he asked me if I wanted to join the group, and I just left Richard Hell. We did a tour with The Clash in England, and he didn't want to tour anymore. So I said, yeah, because I like touring. I like to see the world and places and things. So I joined the group, and it was that easy.
Did that kind of lead you directly into the Ramones, going from Richard Hell?
Well, we were on the same company. We were friends, and I was familiar with their style. And they used to come see my first band, Dust, when I was a kid in high school in the village, in Greenwich Village. And we all it was like a small society, you know?
Yeah.
So we all became friends.
Everyone knew each other?
Yeah. Sit at the bar at CBGB's, have a few drinks.
Yeah.
A few. Yeah. What time is it? I don't know. Look outside, the sun's up.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but I mean, shortly after you joining, I guess a lot of big things kind of got to happen for the Ramones, right? Big at that time. You had you got to be in Rock and Roll High School not long after you joined.
High School, working with Phil Spector, got on The Simpsons, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Grammy Awards. You know what? But in the end, it's like you get up, and like everybody else, you have your cup of coffee, and you got to go to the bathroom. That's it.
You're distilling it down to its most basic element.
Exactly. We're all human.
But do you have any memories of that Rock and Roll High School? PJ Souls getting to?
Yeah, it was fun seeing how a movie's made, and you could be sitting there for 8 hours. They won't call you. Go the next day, they call you for 5 minutes just to do your scene, but you have to be on the set. So you're there and you're wondering, what are you going to do for 8 hours here, So me and Dee Dee found some good things to do while we were waiting. And it was really amazing to see the actors work together, and the director, and the way they listened to him, and just seeing all these, remember, what's his name? The guy who played, what the hell was his name? He had a brother who was a famous tennis player. Eagle Bauer. He was the guy in the van.
Yeah.
But what was his name again?
I'm trying to use my...
Yeah, because I don't... you meet so many people, it's very hard. But he used to be in that series about a bear called Ban. Did you ever see that series, Ban?
Gentle Ben.
Yeah, Gentle Ben.
Yeah.
Right? I remember him from that. I always used to walk around behind...
Isn't it Ron Howard?
Ron, his brother. But I used to walk behind
Clint, yeah, you're right, and he was in a bunch of amazing.
He was in Evil Speak.
Evil Speak. I was gonna say, yeah, Evil Speak is.
I would walk behind him and I would go, Ben. Dan, and he'd turn around and he'd laugh. That's why it was so much fun to make the Rock and Roll High School, because everybody had a good sense of humor.
And then it was also not, it was I guess around that time or not long after that time that you had, not to be too cliche, but I Want to Be Sedated, which was...
Sedated, Rock and Roll High School saved us, because at that point, in '77, after Rocket to Russia came out, I thought there were a lot of hits on that album, and so did Tommy. So, Sheena is a punk rocker, disco was big, the radios were pushing disco. I have nothing against any kind of music, it's up to the individual. But that was our competition, and the minute they saw punk and the leather jackets, they thought we were a gang. But it was the English punk bands that really turned them off because of the Nazi stickers they wore.
Right.
And a lot of the relatives of the DJs in America fought in World War II against the Nazis. And they're wearing Nazi stickers, but I like a lot of the bands, but visually they were, you know, a turnoff to a lot of the record people and the DJs. So they kind of gave punk a bad name. But we persevered, we kept going on and on and on, and you know, that's the result.
What was it like having a hit per se with I Want to Be Sedated? Like, did it change anything?
Well, I thought Sheena should have been a hit with Rocket to Russia and Rockaway Beach. Then we had to come up with something else, so we came up with Sedated. Joey wrote that, and that's the biggest selling single and downloaded song next to Blitzkrieg Bop. They wouldn't play Blitzkrieg Bop because of the reference to shoot them in the back now. What they want, I don't know. So in those days, a lot of the DJs were turned off by that reference. So they didn't play Blitzkrieg Bop, which I feel they should have.
Yeah, it's a big sports anthem now.
Oh, yeah.
It's at every...
Yes, it is. I know.
But your first period with the band, I think it lasted, what, 4 albums or something like that?
Let's see. Up to, I think it's Road to Ruin, Rock and Roll High School soundtrack, Phil Spector, End of the Century,
Pleasant Dreams.
Pleasant Dreams, and Subterranean Jungle with Psychotherapy and KKK. My baby took the KKK away. And then I had to go away for a while. Too much beer drinking and frolicking around with my friends at CBGB. So I decided to myself, what's more important, to continue playing or to continue drinking? So I stopped and I did the right thing, and here I am. I got back in the band, and the first song that I recorded was a Pet Cemetery for the original movie, and the Christmas song.
We listen. It's funny. We listened to it in the car as we were driving to the convention today, with the rain pouring down and the red leaves blowing. I thought this is actually pretty cool.
Very visual, definitely.
It's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We did that in a cemetery called Sleepy Hollow, and it was upstate New York, either Connecticut or upstate New York. And after the shoot, when we're going in the grave, me and Joey going in the grave, after that it was over. But there were no lights. We couldn't get at it. I couldn't get at it. I drove there. Lights were off, and the only thing I had were my headlights. How the hell do you get out of this graveyard? So I'm turning down each street, and there's nothing. There's no exit signs, and there's this avenue, that avenue. So finally, I saw this hill at about that much of a decline, and I went down the hill like this, and I ended up on the highway. So who knows?
It's
always something.
It's funny. The first time my introduction to the Ramones was through Pet Sematary. I saw it, I guess around 1990 or something. And the movie ends, got this amazing downbeat ending, which I loved. And all of a sudden the song kicks in, and I'm like, oh, what is this? I'm like, what the fuck is it? This sounds amazing. It's kind of like metal, but it's not really metal. And like, what is it? And then my well, at the time, I didn't even know what punk music was at the time. But my brother bought Brain Drain on cassette. So then I heard it. I thought, that's that song from that movie. Oh, it's this band, the Ramones.
Yeah, that's with I Believe in Miracles, right?
Yeah, I Believe in Miracles.
Stephen King invited us to his house in Maine, and he's a Ramones fan. So he gives the lyrics to us. Dee Dee was basically the main songwriter. Dee Dee took the book, read it, and wrote the song in I think 20 or 30 minutes. And you know, if you're a great songwriter like he was, you can do that. 1, 2, 3. I just don't understand how somebody could do that, write a song like that in such a short time. So Stephen King's basement is where we ate. I guess, you know, I don't want to go down to the basement. But it looked like a set out of Star Trek. The series, the first one. Very intense eyes. But what a great guy. We had such a great time there. And then after that, we did the video. And that was it.
But I had read, I have such fond memories of Brain Drain, because again, it was just a time in my life that I heard it, and it was my introduction to the band. But I had read somewhere that it wasn't the greatest of experiences, or it wasn't maybe the best period for the band.
Are you talking about that or the Phil Spector album?
The Brain Drain.
Brain Drain was good. That was a good. That was fun. That was the next album I did when I got back. But the Phil Spector album, making that, I'm friends with Phil. Unfortunately, he's in jail. He can't be with us here today. Anyway, he was difficult, but in a good way. He wanted, because he was a perfectionist. He would have Johnny hit the guitar like 30, 40 times, that first chord to Rock and Roll High School. And I could see that. I just think he was doing it on purpose just to piss him off. But we made the album, but Phil was an eccentric guy. He was one of the greatest producers ever. And I'm not going to question his work ethics. So I went along with it, and I did my drum tracks, that was it. Then Johnny did his guitar, Dee did his bass, and then Joey did his vocals separately. So that was, and then he put all the overdubs on it. On the box set that's coming out, we have Rick Rubin, who I never worked with. I'm not familiar with his stuff. He's going to take off all the orchestration on that album and just leave it Ramones. The way we recorded it before he put on the overdubs. So that should be interesting. You know, like Let It Be Naked, you know, that album by the Beatles. So yeah, that was a pretty difficult time because of just working with him. But me and Joey loved him. You know, Dee Dee and Johnny, they really didn't get along with him. He didn't get along with them either, but that's life, you know.
After Phil, though, with Brain Drain, it was Daniel Ray, was it not?
Daniel Ray did it, and John Bouvard, I think, produced Pet Sematary. He's a guitar player. And Daniel played a lot of the leads on that album. And Johnny stuck to the rhythm. And everybody, played what they had to do.
Yeah. Was Daniel Ray, was he important at all to the sound at the time, do you think?
Daniel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or did he play a role in the... Because I know there's been a lot of talk about Daniel. In fact, didn't Daniel Ray get some songwriting credits or something like that?
Of course. He helped write a few songs. And he worked with Dee Dee and Joey. And he played him and Walter Lure from Johnny Thunder's Heartbreakers played lead on a few songs too.
Cool. All right, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? Yeah, this gentleman right over here. Oh, sorry.
No, that's it.
Oh, I forgot.
No, you know, Marky, you pick.
I've read your book a few times.
Wow.
And I love reading about your friendship with the rest of the band. It's wonderful that you were able to get along with everybody so well, and I find it really sweet. And I wanted to ask, just out of curiosity, what is one of the funnest pranks that you and Johnny pulled together?
Well, we had a tour manager named Monty. And every time he'd walk out of the room, we'd fill up the cup of water and put on the door, and it would fall over his head. You know, one day we were playing live, and another prank, some guy threw a dead chicken on Joey's shoulder, landed on his shoulder. That was funny. Yeah, this is the best one. I went out to eat sushi for the first time. You got to be a fan of sushi. You know, somebody said, have some, try it, you know. I tried it. We had to play though. So it was a pre-dinner for the show. So I'm playing and I have my sunglasses. Me and Joey wore sunglasses because of the lighting. Sometimes it could be very bright. So I'm playing along. I feel something funny happening, you know. And I thought I was gonna burp. Next thing I know, I threw up on the snare drum. And I'm playing it because I can't stop. And it's hitting me in the face on my glasses. And I'm going, where's my roadie? He didn't want to come near me because of the throw up. So we had to take a 5-minute intermission, change the snare drum. I had to wipe my glasses, my face, and we continued. Now, that stuff you can't make up. So that was one of the funny things involving the Ramones family.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny you say about Walter Law. I was fortunate enough to be at Rebellion this year, and he's now trolling out the LAMF with him and a guy from one of the guys from Gen X on drums, and the guitarist from Slaughter and the Dogs, and they're doing a whole sort of a review thing of Johnny Thunder's Slaughter and the Dogs and what have you. Is that something you could see yourself doing in the future with the bands that you've been in?
No, I do 40, 45 Ramones songs.
Okay.
Around every time I play.
Yeah.
I won't do a Rocket to Russia album. I won't do a Road to Ruin album. I don't, I want to play for at least an hour and 40 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to just do one album.
No, what I meant is, would you be thinking of doing a review where you actually play music from all of the bands, and maybe with guys that were in the original bands? Any of the Voidoids?
Well, the guys that I grew up with, like Johnny Thunder,
Yeah,
Jerry Nolan, some of the guys from the Dead Boys, they're gone.
Yeah.
Sid Vicious, they're not alive.
Yeah.
Those are the guys I would play with.
Right.
But people die,
Oh yeah.
So there's nothing you can do about it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, with all those, oh no, sorry, go ahead.
Hello.
I'm just curious if you're still eating disgusting stuff for money.
What was disgusting? Like what?
Like bugs?
Oh?
Is there anybody still to pay you to eat all that stuff from like the front of a van?
The bugs?
Yeah.
When I was eating bugs off the windshield?
Yeah.
Well, it's a high source of protein.
Like how much?
You save on groceries.
So, no, it was a bet. We were just goofing around. It was a bet, so they didn't think I would do it. I did it. I didn't get sick. I didn't care.
So nobody's around to pay you anymore though.
It's
I
okay.
got $10.
But
Bucky got it.
the thing is, people eat bugs every day in Africa and other places just to survive. So what the heck? Just another form of meat.
That's true.
How long have you been in the punk rock community? Like how?
75.
75?
Yeah.
All right.
When it started, CBGBs.
Nice.
That's where it started. Iggy and MC5 had punk elements, but they were rock bands. Ramones solidified it.
Yeah.
They'd stop, 1, 2, 3, 4, no bullshit. And how's the weather? How's your grandmother? It was all, just 1, 2, 3, 4. When you see a lot of bands play, and then they stop for 5 minutes and they talk, how you doing out there? Okay. It's because they're tired. They need a rest. They want to drink their water. We never believed in that. We just continued playing.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
What was your first, your first memory of hearing the Ramones before you were actually
wow.
in the band?
Okay, I was living in Little Italy, and I had a stereo, and this girl brought over this album, and they already played CBGBs. The album was the first Ramones album. I never heard it on vinyl, never heard them on vinyl, and it just, to me, I realized that this is going to change things. The the fastness, the way bands played, quick, 1, 2, 3, 4, the whole thing. And I had to get used to it because there was no leads, there were no drum fills. It was just a barrage of power. And I gave it a few more listens, and I loved it. So that was my first time listening to the Ramones on a record when there was vinyl. Oh, there's vinyl now too, but that's what was happening.
Just a bit of a more sensitive question. What is your advice for others, people who are recovering from an alcohol addiction?
Go to AA. Go to AA and realize you got a problem, admit to it, and then you let all that crap out. That's all. I had fun. I don't regret anything. I just had to do the right thing.
Right.
And my parents didn't like it either. My father's 6'3", 240 pounds. So I'm not going to argue with him.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. It's a longshoreman. He worked on the docks. So he was pretty, But he always supported me playing music, which was good. Anybody else?
I got one more if I can. A question I always ask people when I meet them in the longevity in the punk scene. Out of everybody you've played with over the years, as in support acts, you supporting or them supporting you, who would you never play with again?
They always wanted to play with us. but after they opened up for us, they didn't want to play with us anymore. I loved everybody. I loved the Clash. I liked Sid Vicious. When we used to hang out in New York when he moved there from England at the Chelsea Hotel, it was great fun. We loved playing with Iggy, Motorhead. So I don't have anything bad to say about anybody.
You're the first one that's not had something bad to say about at least one of the band.
Well, you did say something when you first.
There was one guy. There was one guy named Sting. You heard of him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Our U.S. pins. We were proud to be an American band. So we had our U.S. pins on, and we liked the United States. So Sting comes up to Johnny Ramone and goes, "Where did you get those?" Sting goes, "Woolworths." Woolworths was like a bargain store.
Yeah.
So Johnny gave him the finger, and when I walked out, I gave him the finger, and that was it. Fuck him for saying that. I mean, we were playing together. Now that's like us going to England and there's some kind of representation of their country and we put that down. That's not right,
Yeah.
He's visiting our country. So whatever his gripe was, he had a problem.
Too much bleach.
I don't know. I mean, the bleach.
Too many feelings.
But he's a good musician, a very good bass player, and he has a good voice. So more power to him.
Though you have mentioned a lot of people just recently, like Sid Vicious, members of the Dead Boys.
He was fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's like to probably everybody here, I assume, definitely me, these are just people you read about. They never lived in this world kind of thing. So what are some of your favorite stories you can tell of like some punk icons?
Well, me and Sid, when Sid first met me, he was at CBGB's. I just joined the Ramones. He was with Nancy Sponge. He comes up to me. You want to go outside? He wanted to fight me. So I go, okay, fine. So then my friend Max, who was my roadie, then he roadied for Jerry Nolan from the Dolls. He whispered in Sid's ear, "He just joined the Ramones." Then he was my good buddy. He was my good buddy. Hey, mate, want a drink? So we became friends that way. That's how things work. But I met him briefly in England at a place called the Roundhouse, and Johnny Forgotten, and the Clash were the best. Clash were the nicest people. We had a great time. and it was a 4 or 5 week tour together in England. So that's one I'll never forget. That was really fun. We would just hang out in the lobbies of the hotels and talk about music, movie stars, and the Western culture that they liked, and Clint Eastwood. They were really into Clint Eastwood. So Sid was the most fun though. He was the most fun.
What about the original Misfits? Did you have any interaction with Glenn Danzig? And
Well, this is what they should have did. They should have had their reunion 15 years ago. That's what the kids wanted to see. But me, Jerry, and Des playing with me, that wasn't the Misfits. Come on. It was just us doing Misfits songs. The Misfits are the 4 guys who are the Misfits. And me personally, I felt that it was me, Jerry, and Des from Black Flag. I thought it was a little bit of a ripoff because it wasn't the real Misfits. And I don't like cheating anybody, especially people paying the money. But now with the reunion, finally you do it, you get it over with. That's what the kids wanted to see, and that's the way it should be. That's why I don't like reunion bands.
how did you ever get involved in that after the Jerry only?
Jerry called my management, and I heard the whole story that Doyle, Michael, and all of them left him. So I kind of felt bad, So we got together in Lodi, New Jersey, and we just did the songs, and it was fun, and that was it. I think I was with them for 3 or 4 years or something like that. But I had to leave because, all due respect to Jerry, who I think's a good guy, wanted to sing Ramones songs. He's not Joey. So that was time for me to say goodbye.
All right. Any other questions out there? Go ahead.
You're doing great.
It's okay. I get those too.
Go to someone else, I'll ask.
Well, okay. So speaking of the Misfits and your time in the band, what I remember about that time of that stage of the Misfits was that it just seemed like it was this kind of never-ending soap opera all the time. There was always this drama, and there was this, and now Doyle's gonna play with Danzig, and that's gotta be awkward.
Danzig doesn't get along with Jerry. He doesn't get along with them at all. So I mean, you're doing it for the money, obviously. But the thing is that after the reunion, then what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the continual reunion, because apparently the MSG was going to be the last, and it's not, because they've already booked Philadelphia.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's all just a circus.
Yeah. So they were in a lawsuit for like 15, 20 years about the merchandise, the publishing between Danzig and them, and I had to hear a lot about that in the tour bus.
Yeah.
So that cost money. So now that they have the opportunity to make that back, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Inevitable question: what is your favorite horror movie and why?
Can I go by decades?
Yes.
Okay. 50s. Horror? Okay. I like The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I like Frankenstein, obviously. Anything Universal. Okay. 50s, I liked It, The Terror from Beyond Space. That's where they got Alien from.
Mm-hmm.
And anything with Ray Harryhausen. Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, Invasion of the Saucermen,
Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. King Kong is the greatest movie ever, the first one. Then came the 60s. The 70s Exorcist. Now I don't tell anyone to do drugs. I don't think it's a good thing. I was a drinker. I didn't, My friend, I took my friend and he dropped 2 tabs of acid when he saw The Exorcist.
Oh no.
I don't suggest it. He kept going like this. Gotta get out of here. We had to leave because it was that disturbing. And they didn't even have the part yet in it where she's walking down the stairs, crawling down the stairs backwards, because I would have had to take him to the hospital. All right, the Howling. Good beginning of those kind of wolf movies. I liked The Werewolf of London. I liked when he transformed. I didn't like that crazy wolf at the end where, it's like, they should have kept to the original looking transformation at the end instead of using that, I guess it was a husky, But I like that. Dawn of the Dead. So I like a lot of things, Now I want to see The Joker. I have time.
Okay, good.
I have time now to see him.
It's good, you like it.
To see it, thanks. But the Godzilla, the new one, it was okay. It was okay. Too much bullshit effects. The first one was great because they had to work very hard on it. They had a guy in a suit, but he made the monster move the way the monster should move because it was so big. It was, it was very heavy. It was huge. But then Godzilla got stupid with the karate chops and the baby Godzilla with the smoke rings and it just turned me off. And then King Kong versus Godzilla, I thought I was going to see the King Kong and the first King Kong fighting, but it was the worst King Kong I ever saw.
It's one of the worst movies I ever saw, actually.
It was one of the worst, but I had to sit through it. And that's the Rodan was the first Rodan was good too. The first one, Ghidra was great. Then after that, again, they tried to appeal to 6, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. But the first Godzilla and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, they had messages to them.
Well, there's definitely like an artistry to the effects and Beast of 20,000 Fathoms.
Atomic bomb, hydrogen bomb, all that stuff. This is what happens, and a three-winged worm trilobite. So it was like, it was just great to see. But the first King Kong, if I was stranded on an island, I would have that. That would be my first one.
So when's your movie review YouTube coming out?
People wanted me to do that in a magazine called, excuse me.
A horror movie magazine?
Yeah.
Fangoria?
Maybe it was that one. But I liked that magazine even when I was a kid growing up. So
Famous Monsters of Film.
It might have been Famous Monsters.
Yeah.
But I would do that because I love horror and I like sci-fi more than horror. But the transformation of Lon Chaney Jr. in the Wolfman was unbelievable. That was great. And Boris Karloff sitting in the chair, with his makeup being applied, and that was amazing too. So, the Godzilla suit, I think, weighed 75 to 80 pounds. And he had to wear that through the whole movie. That's a lot of weight.
What was your, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
What was the funnest concert you ever did?
The funnest, you mean the most fun concert?
Yeah.
I like the word funnest.
Yeah, good.
I might use it. Let's see. The most fun. I liked when I saw The Who the first time with Keith Moon.
That's a good one.
Great one. And Zach, Ringo's son, plays great too with them. The Who, because we were really huge Who fans. And to me, The Who were like a punk band.
Yeah.
My generation, that's a punk song.
I heard a story.
That was 65.
I heard a story that when you were younger, you went to see The Who live, and then you bumped into Pete Townsend, and the first thing you said to him was, "Where's Keith Moon?"
Yeah. I was 14, 15. And John Entwistle said I think he said he's laying down the back. So I don't remember what that meant. Now I know.
Okay.
But meeting Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison was pretty strange too in New York City. That was you know, a very, very young teenager. But, you know, these people are, you can't replace them. Especially Jimi Hendrix, you can't.
So when you're talking about some of your favorite horror films, and I hate to take it back again, but Pet Sematary, was there some sort of big premiere that you guys got to go to? Like, what was your memory of seeing it for the first time on the screen and your songs in the movie?
I went there in a pair of bathing trunks. I had a button-down T-shirt, a fisherman's hat on, and I wore sandals. I sat in the back and I watched it. Did I like it? From a 1 to 10, to be honest, I give it about a 7. You know.
That's pretty good.
I liked Fred Gwynne. I thought he was great in The Monsters. But I give it about a 7.
I give it a 6 or something.
No way. I like honesty. So I give it a 7. An 8, 9, those are rare. To rate a movie a 9 that high, you know? I mean, the first Universal movies were definitely 9s, 10s. Godzilla, considering what it was at that time, an 8, 8.5. It, The Terror from Beyond Space, with the little budget they had to make that movie, I give it a 9. Because it was such a scary movie. The minute he came on board to the spaceship where he climbed up the fin, you didn't see that part. But you hear his breathing. Nothing can stop him. You know, it's the perfect horror movie, perfect sci-fi movie. And then I read, here's another story. I was with Sigourney Weaver on a flight to Spain. We were sitting together. So I'm sitting down, I look up, I see this woman coming at me. And she didn't look like her at all. You know, a little disheveled, everything, you know. So we're sitting together, and I said, "You're Sigourney Weaver." She goes, "Yeah, how are you?" And then I said, "Did you know that that alien was taken from the creature from the Terror from Beyond Space?" "No, I just read the script, that's all." So 20 minutes to land, she gets up, goes to the bathroom, comes out, movie star. You know, just looking like a typical movie star. It's like the transformation was like the Wolfman. No disregard to her, but I mean, she looked like a beautiful movie star. You know, but that was another strange thing. But very, very polite, very nice. I wish I could have sat next to the alien.
Last time you sat next to anybody.
There was a cool DVD that came out 2004, Ramones Raw.
Yeah.
And that was kind of taken from a lot of your personal library, right?
Yeah, I have 400 high 8 tapes and regular tape and a disc of the Ramones everywhere. What I have, no one's even touched. You haven't touched the surface yet. But I put out a DVD called Raw, R-A-W, and it's all 90% is basically my footage, backstage stuff, funny things, shows. So it's a mixture of a lot of different stuff. It's not so planned out, and that's the way I wanted it to be. Just to see, the Ramones are very shy. They were shy people. Backstage, they didn't want cameras pointed at them. They didn't want to be videotaped because it was a new thing at the time, back then. But if one of us had a camera or video, that wouldn't have been a problem. So I was able to do that and compile all this, and it turned out very well. I was very proud of it. And maybe I'll put out a part 2. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna. If you have such a huge library at home, I was wondering if.
Yeah, if you have rare tapes, get them on CD because they'll disintegrate.
One of my favorite things about Ramones Raw is that, you know, so often when watching the videos that you take, it's like it's so awesome to see you guys just acting like normal guys
Normal.
in between all
Not
know,
putting on the show.
Yeah, it's just like you guys having lunch together or, sharing a joke together. And
Yeah.
It's just so wonderful to see you guys just being normal outside of the rock star image.
I wish I had the one where the glass of water fell on the tour manager. Johnny pissed in Johnny Forgotten's beer
Oh!
in England, and he drank it. And he drank
Couldn't
it.
tell the difference.
It was great. It was great. He drank it. And we're cracking up.
Hey, is anyone here from Hamilton, perhaps? Oh, okay, there you go. And that's my family over there, so that's why they're from Hamilton. But you...
Oh,
sorry, no.
There's a DVD about a big band in Canada, punk band, that I just did like about 8 months ago. It should be out in 3 or 4 months. And it took about maybe 2 months to make this thing. And you should check it out because they were really a good band. Who was the band? I forgot.
But they were great.
Are they like a young band or an older band?
Name some punk bands.
Well, Teenage Head is the
Teenage
one.
Head, that's the one.
That's where I was going with this because they're from Hamilton.
Yeah, and this watch is a Hamilton. So I'm looking at it, I'm going, what the fuck's going on? So
It's like the Charles Manson court scene.
It's great that a band like that has a documentary because they were a really good band, and he's a great guitar player, Joy.
Yeah.
Was it a DOA or?
No, it's Teenage Head.
Yeah, Teenage
I
Head.
was thinking of
Yeah.
other Canadian.
Yeah, Gordy Lewis
Great
is
guitar
the
player.
guitar player.
Yep.
And you did an album with them, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something
Yeah.
like that.
See what happened? They did their first album. The production wasn't that good, so they wanted to redo it. So I came up here with to Hamilton with Daniel Ray, and I did the drums over, and he produced it.
Nice.
So it came out really good. But the essence of the first album, the first time, for any band, there's some magic there. It's very hard to create that, but I did what I had to do, made it heavier. And Daniel, as a producer, is the great producer. So if Daniel was around back then, and I was able to play the drums on that album, it would have probably sounded more like Road to Ruin or Rocket to Russia, that kind of production.
All right. Any more questions? Oh, in the back.
Hi, this is another sort of movie-related one. So I know Johnny Ramone was also a big horror sci-fi movie fan.
Yeah, we used to collect sci-fi posters everywhere. In every state, we'd go to the 7-Eleven, look at the phone. There were phone books back then. We'd look up the collectible stores, and we'd go in them and rummage through the sci-fi posters. So we would just collect them. He had one of the biggest. I have a big one. Guy from Metallica has a big one, big poster collection. You have to be very careful with them because a lot of them get brittle. Because they weren't made to be handled that much. You'd figure a movie's in a theater 3 weeks, 4 weeks the most. Then after that, they would either throw them away or put them back in the warehouse. And the air deteriorates things. It's like chrome on a car, when they used to have chrome on cars. So you have to definitely frame them, or else dry mount them so they stay in shape.
And how about Marky Ramone's Brooklyn's Own Pasta Sauce? My brother picked me up some of that, and I actually liked it.
Yeah, my grandfather was a chef at a famous club in New York called Copacabana. And he was the head chef there. And as a little boy, my parents used to take us over to his house, and I would watch him cook. He would make the meals because he was a chef. So I looked and I kept looking, and then one day I said, let me get a go at it. So I cooked a hamburger. Whoop-de-doo. So when I was asked to do the sauce later on in life, I put my own ingredients to it. There was sauce, a little bit of oregano, some garlic, you got to know what you're doing when you're making this stuff, you know, because it could turn out crap. It took me 5 to 6 months to get it right. I put in that thick puree into it. It didn't work. It was too thick, and which made the other with tomato sauce too thin. So one time I made it, one was too salty. Then I tried another one. It was too watery. Because sometimes when you make spaghetti, you put the sauce on it, and you have the water on the bottom, and it interferes with the taste. So you have to make a good sauce so it'll sell. So I kept at it and at it and at it, and then one day I tasted it, said, this is damn good. So I started drinking whole bottles of it, whole bottles, because I liked it that much. But the next day when I went to the bathroom, forget it. You know, it's like the swamp thing, you know. But no, the Toxic Avenger. Anyway, yeah, it did well. Didn't go into mass production, which things like that should. So after, I guess, 3 years at the plant where it was made, which was in Philadelphia, it says Marky Ramone's Brooklyn's Own. That's where I invented it. So the people that carried it didn't like the fact that it says Brooklyn and it was bottled in another state. So the woman, I think it was Whole Foods, oh, you can't sell that here, not good, it's false advertising. I go, yeah, but I don't live there, I live here, this is where I made it. No, I can't do it. So they didn't carry it anymore. I let it go, and that was it.
All right. So we got time for one more question, and then we got to wrap it up.
Were you a chef once in your life?
What's that?
A
Were you ever a
chef
chef?
once in your life.
Was it, what, name one chef?
Were you ever a chef?
Oh, no, I can't cook. I can make some sauce. I can make a hamburger on a hot dog, but I can't. You're hungry, me too, I'm hungry too now. But,
You can make dog food.
yeah, here's another story.
Oh,
After I left Richard Helm the Broadway, you know, I lived in a basement apartment with no heat, no hot water, concrete floors. There was nothing. My friend upstairs was moving out. He had a dog. So he had a 24-pack thing with the plastic over it, and it was called IAMS, I-A-M-S, dog food.
Yeah.
So instead of robbing bakeries when they deliver, you know, they put the food on the front, and you get your bike, you take it, or, you know, cherry pies, and I'm up to here with cherry pies. And me and my friend would go to these places and wait for the delivery guy, and we would take some of the stuff just so we could survive. So getting back to the dog food. I put some olive oil in the pan. Then the next thing you know, I put the dog food in, put a little seasoning on it, and it was good.
oh.
It was good. But you know what? At least I didn't bark. But I had to eat it. It sustained me. I said, if Lassie can eat it, I'll eat it. So that's what I had to do to survive for a few weeks, and it worked.
And if the world ever ends and we end up in some post-apocalyptic world where,
Exactly.
then you know you can survive off
Hey,
it.
from bugs to dog food.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, guys, everybody, thank you very much, and let's put it
Thanks so
together
much.
for Marky.